Happy Saturday, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Home Solutions, right here on Mix 104.1 and 101.3 The Buzz. Dennis Purvis with you, as always. Hope you guys are having a great Saturday morning. I am here with my partner in crime once again this week, Jesse Matthews, my co-owner with me here at Pro93 Home Solutions. Jesse, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. Doing good today.
Listen, we've got a good show for you today, especially in light of what's happened here in the last couple weeks. But as always, we are brought to you by our company, Pro93 Home Solutions. We're happy to be the only local home and garden show here in the area, and we're happy to be your friendly neighborhood contractor. Pro93, we're here to help you with anything you got from small to large with your home improvement, your remodeling, build-outs, additions, garages, basement refinishing, custom home builds, whatever it is, we run the gamut. We would love to help you. We're fully licensed and insured, and we would love to partner with you on whatever your dream is for your home. Give us a call at 458-4135, and we can schedule you a free estimate with Chris, our estimator. He'll come out and talk to you about what you're looking for, and we do our best to get you estimates turned around just as fast as possible, and of course, those are always free. You can always check us out on www.pro93homesolutions.com. You can contact us right from the website there. That comes directly to our phones. Jesse and I will give you a call, or I will give you a call and get you on the schedule ASAP. And don't forget about Wendy and our clean team. If you're looking to have some spring cleaning done here, as it's about that time of year, some organization, maybe you've got an office you need cleaned. It's a move in, move out. Maybe you've had some projects done in your home and you want to get a post-construction clean. Whatever it is, our clean team is ready to go. We've also got green clean options where we've got no ammonias, no chlorine in our products. We use Melaleuca products for that. There's no additional cost for that. That goes out by request, but we have that available. So if you've got folks that like a clean house but don't like the smell associated with the clean house, or you've got allergies or asthma, I can tell you that these products are fantastic. I use them personally in my home, and I don't have either one of those things. I just prefer that smell and the kind of the all-natural versus the chlorine and the bleach kind of smell. But Wendy would love to come out and give you a free estimate. Again, 458-4135 or pro93homesolutions.com. So now that I've got that out of the way, let's dig into what we're going to talk about today. Last week, or a couple weeks ago, we had some high winds come through here. We had a day where we had schools canceled, and there was definitely some inclement weather. And this time of year is always good for that because you got cold and warm air mixing. We've already seen, a little brief spring/summer spree.
It's false summer.
Yeah, and then next week we were just out at a ball game at a middle school here last night, freezing because we did not think it was going to be that cold. We were not prepared. And next week, I think it's going to be even chillier, so back in the 20s and 30s. So, folks, as this kind of time happens, storms come through, and some of them, like when we had some pretty nice straight-line winds. Mm-hmm. I know there was a tornado that was reported down in northern Hamilton County. We've had lots of calls on trees being down, roof damage, shingles been blowing off. And Jesse, you're the roof guru. When these things happen, what's the biggest call? What's the most common calls we get?
Common call would be shingles blowing off my roof. I see shingles in my yard. My neighbor's roof is blown off as well. Metal roofs have issues. If your fasteners come loose, the metal will actually peel back to where you need emergency services in the sense of a tarp of some sort to protect from against any other elements that come in until you can get the roof fixed.
And I can tell you, just to jump in there, we do provide those services. I know last weekend we were busy. Mm-hmm. We had a pretty significant one out on the south end of town, metal roof that left a sizable hole, literally peeled it kind of open like a can opener, that we needed to get that back and get a tarp on it. So, folks, rain or shine, 24/7, give us a call. If you've got those issues, we can get some folks out there. And folks, most insurance are going to pay for those emergency services because the last thing they want is more damage and more things they've got to cover because there's water getting in.
That's right. They have just as much interest, if not more, than even your mortgage company for that matter.
Yeah.
So they want to do what needs to be done to mitigate any further damages. They will pay for emergency services.
So don't let that be a reason why you try to get up on your roof,
Right.
Especially during a storm or if it's wet, especially if you've got a steep roof. You know, folks, we've got guys and gals that this is what they do. They've got the equipment, they've got the apparel, the right shoes, even to be able to get up there and get that taken care of for you. So, excuse me, that's something we can absolutely take care of. So, what we wanted to talk about today is kind of in that vein. As we're here in storm season, you know, what are the kind of things you need to be thinking about as a homeowner? How do you deal with your insurance company? How do you deal with your contractor, or finding a contractor to help do insurance work? First thing we want to say out of the gate, and we'll probably say this a couple times, we are not licensed insurance agents.
Mm-mm.
Anything we're going to talk about from an insurance perspective today is strictly anecdotal and experiential. We've done a lot. Jesse especially has spent the last over a decade working in this world, from restoration to emergency services to putting stuff back together.
It's hard to believe it's been that long.
It has been that long.
I'm
but
old, man.
Like he literally was at Hurricane Sandy.
That's right.
In New Jersey when they ran up there and did a lot of restoration work. So understand, folks, that we're just trying to give you a lot of times people are just so lost. I know we had a customer this week that just called and said, "What do I need to say to my insurance adjuster?"
Yep.
And Jesse's words were, "As little as you need to." I mean, let them, you have storm damage, right?
Less is better.
Yeah, they'll see it.
They'll find it. They're smart. Insurance companies are smart. They have their database. They have their storms. They know the weather probably better than we do. So they've done their research, and they know to what direction the wind was blowing even.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's just all kinds of things that the insurance company will want to know. What I can say is a storm date is very, very important for your agent to file the claim properly.
Yeah. And they know when those dates are.
Correct.
Especially in what area you are in. And I can tell you the other thing that I know we always hear the horror stories, right? Folks aren't nearly as when the insurance company comes out, finds their problem, they get a contractor, they fix the problem. People are a lot less likely to report those kind of stories than when an insurance company fights a claim. But I can tell you, in a lot of years of doing this, now we have had little things maybe fought by insurance companies, maybe a code upgrade that they didn't realize was necessary in our area. But man, we have not seen too many insurance companies deny storm damage when, if you're the only house on your block that hasn't gotten a new roof because of storm damage, you probably need to talk to your insurance agent.
Yeah.
There's the chances of keep in mind, we always hear those horror stories, and that's what everybody kind of thinks when they call in. Well, I don't even know if this is worth it. Folks, like Jesse said that earlier, they've got a vested interest in your property too. Because if there is an issue that goes unresolved and they're part of it, they're liable for any future damage.
That's right. Yep.
So
they want to mitigate.
Yeah, they want to take care of it because it's never going to be cheaper than right now. Materials are never going to be cheaper. They're not going to be more expensive or less expensive in 5 years. Labor isn't going to be less expensive. The dollar's going to be worth less. I mean, just look at where inflation's been just in the last couple of years here. So just understand that this isn't a process that you need to be fearful of. It's already bad enough that you've suffered a loss. Don't add that extra layer of anxiety.
Right.
So, Jesse, let's just start at the beginning. I'm going to be John Q. customer here.
All right.
And I had a storm last week, came home from work, and there's a tree laying on my back deck, and part of it's on my roof. What do I need to do? I don't even know what to do first.
First, you need to call your insurance company directly, like right now, here and now. You've got a tree on your house. You want to make sure that your claim is filed to take care of the damage that's on your roof right now. Then you need to get a contractor in line that will come out and remove the tree, get you an estimate if that's what's required. An invoice is super important because that's what's going to get turned over to the insurance so that way they can pay that bill for you. And then once the tree's removed, what damages did it do for the here and the now and the moment on let's protect the rest of your house and the assets that are under your roof So if there's a hole that's been punctured, if shingles have been damaged and removed because of the brush and the limbs that took out the shingles when it was coming down, get a licensed contractor that does work with insurance companies that can come out and do a temporary repair, which would mean either a patch job or put a tarp over the top of it. Is highly recommended. That's what I would recommend, is a tarp, because once the adjuster comes out to the property, they're going to pull back that tarp and they're going to want to identify the damages to your shingles, to your felt, to your decking. Were there any rafters that were broke on a tree that was fallen? There's just so many factors that contribute to your roof system. You want to make sure that the insurance company pays for it for like kind on what it was like before the damage happened. And that's why you pay your insurance.
If I can add one other thing that you as a homeowner can do, everybody's got a camera in their pocket on their phone now. Take pictures. Document. Put them in a file, put them in a Google Drive, put them in Dropbox. Because here's what happens a lot of times is, especially when there's a tree issue, where it's done some damage. And again, tree removal is another one of those things like tarps that are emergency services, because got to get that off your house. You got to, just to get to the, figure out what the damage is. But understand that if stuff gets removed before your contractor gets there, your contractor doesn't know what it looked like beforehand.
That's right.
Your adjuster may not know what it looks like beforehand. So in these big storms, the chance of you getting an adjuster out the next morning are going to be slimmer and slimmer because there's so many people.
Very rare.
So days may pass, and know that that's normal. One other thing I'll say to what Jesse just said is not every contractor does insurance work.
Correct.
And a couple reasons. One, it's kind of the opposite reason as to why we like to do it. Sometimes takes longer to get paid as a contractor. What I'll say to that is typically we're confident because we know that check's going to be good, and we're not moving from one job to the next praying for some money. So, we've been in business long enough and established enough and got good enough relationships with adjusters and with confidence in our folks to do insurance work that, doing supplemental items, and we'll talk about more of about those things in the next segment, but just understand, ask the contractor, say, this is going to be an insurance job. Are you okay with that? Because the last thing you want in the middle of this is for a contractor to be handing you a bill and insurance hasn't approved everything, or you're still dealing with your insurance, and you've got somebody knocking on your door asking for money, and you haven't received all the money yet from your insurance.
That's right. And I think a lot of that, just piggybacking off what Dennis is saying, contractors that work with insurance can speak the language of the insurance company. And that's one of two things. One, it's terminology, but two, it's pricing. Software for the pricing of what the insurance companies write their estimates in is incredibly important, because I can write an estimate the way that an insurance company would write their estimate off of the same software system, to where everything is broke down line item by line item, instead of a contractor that is not necessarily comfortable working with insurance. They're going to probably put a bulk price together, and their pricing is completely different than what the insurance price is.
And a lot of contractors don't like the line item, because it is, there is a discount. Hey, you let me do all of this, and I'm going to do this for a reduced price.
Do bulk pricing. Yep.
But understand, in insurance, every screw has a price tag.
There's a price. Insurance has a price for everything.
And I can tell you, I've listened to Jesse on the phone with adjusters, and when they find out that we have Xactimate and can write in their language, you hear this sigh of relief, because he knows this is going to be the easiest claim he's going to work on. And folks, as the homeowner, that's what you want. You want happy, jolly adjusters who they're like, you know what, this is going to be, send that to me, send me pictures to prove it, and I'll cut a check.
And it's a trust factor with the contractor and the adjuster. And
listen, we've already run up against our first break, so we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the next steps of the process. Unfortunately, we're at that time of year where these storms are going to happen. So we want to make sure you're prepared. So hang in there. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back in just a second. You're listening to Home Solutions right here on Mix 104.1 and 101.3 The Buzz. Are you tired of going to YouTube or Google for answers to your home improvement questions? Maybe you have more projects than you have time. No matter where you are in the process, Pro93 Home Solutions is ready to serve you. Pro93 is a local, veteran-owned company offering residential and commercial remodeling, cleaning, and security. Contact us today at 458-4135 or online at pro93homesolutions.com. Let the pros at Pro93 find the solution for your home or business. That's 458-4135. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Home Solutions. First off, we want to thank everybody for listening. Dennis, Purvis, and Jesse Matthews from Pro93 Home Solutions in here. First of all, thank you, folks, for your support over the last couple of years and making this show a success. We try our best to be full of good information every week. We've got some guests coming in the next few weeks that we haven't had that kind of business type in here. We're going to be some exciting stuff coming. So thank you for tuning in on Saturday mornings, whether it's just you're out in your car driving around, maybe you're listening online, streaming online, or maybe you're in the Mix 1041 app, or maybe you're just watching us on Facebook. We haven't said hi to Facebook. How you guys doing over there? So thank you guys for the comments. Thank you for suggestions, and thank you for listening. Today we're talking about storm damage and what do you do when those things happen. And, you know, we had that happen just a couple weeks ago, a couple Fridays ago, and we want to make sure that you're prepared. We talked about in the last segment about kind of first steps when those things happen. We talked about documenting. We talked about call your insurance agent right away. Report the claim, especially if you've got a tree on your house, tree somewhere on your roof. If you've got a compromised roof in any way, you're seeing water leak, you're seeing water come through the ceiling. If you see maybe stuff dripping into a light fixture. These are all things you need to be calling about right away because those things do not get better on their own. This is not a put your head in the sand and it'll eventually dry up. The water may dry up, but the damage it's going to cause, we say it all the time, water always wins. And if it found a way in this time, the next time may just be a regular old just spring shower. Mm-hmm. But that water's already found a way in, and that leak is going to grow and grow and grow. So protect your home, protect your assets. So we talked about, Jesse, a little bit about what to do on the first step. So now they've kind of identified, they've got a claim, they've got an adjuster coming out. Maybe they've talked to you as the contractor. What are the next things you're hoping to see or you're asking for from the customer?
The first thing I would ask, let's talk the estimate portion of it. It is important that probably you don't need to get 3 estimates when you're dealing with insurance companies. What you want on the front end of that, it's opposite of what it's like to go out and get a bid for your house for a project. You want to hire a contractor that is knowledgeable about the Xactimate process, is knowledgeable about the pricing on how the insurance works, and then once you find your contractor, allow them the opportunity to talk with the adjuster on the front end of the project.
Yes.
Let the adjuster almost write his estimate, or if he trusts the contractor well enough, let the contractor write the estimate for the insurance company. That's the process that you have to start with. Knowledge base on coming into a claim, know what your deductible is. Because an insurance company will pay the dollar amount minus your deductible. Within the last couple years, and I've been in the industry for a while now.
Over 10 years, Jesse.
Over 10 years. I'm
old.
an old man now, yeah. I feel like. I don't feel like, I know it.
Yeah.
But the deductibles have changed. Sometimes there's insurance companies that will put a percentage on the appraisal value of your home, and then that's your deductible, which can cause some serious financial. You got to be very diligent on what your deductible is when it comes to a loss like this.
And can I jump in right here? And first of all, I want to give the disclaimer we gave in the first segment.
Yes, I was going to say the same thing.
We are not licensed insurance
Correct.
agents. However, we've got a lot of anecdotal and experiential knowledge and things, scenarios we've went through. And what I can tell you is that if you've got a homeowner's policy and your agent doesn't call you every year on renewal to go over your new policy with you, and I don't mean this in any way other than just to take it for what it is, find a new agent. Because your policy, and I am just as guilty as anybody else, you get that big, thick 8.5 by 11 envelope in the mail. It's your renewal policy. You just assume, and we all know what that means, that it's the same thing you've always had. We have had customers that have had significant roof damage due to a storm not be able to get their roof replaced because they have the insurance cover it because they didn't realize that their last renewal, it got removed. Yeah. Because, again, who reads their policy? Second thing, make sure not every now most insurance companies are going to cover wind, hail, lightning, power surge Flood is not covered on most policies. Trees are covered. Yeah, usually a fallen tree. But guys, understand that's their earthquake. We do get some tremors around here from time to time. We do get some flooding around here, especially depending on with some of our folks out towards the Ocoee and Hiwassee. Understand that those are separate things you're going to need to talk to your agent about to get added to your policy. The bottom line is know your policy. And Jesse's talking about deductibles. As we've seen property values rise, if you've got a $350,000, $400,000 house, a $1,000 deductible is not a significant impact on that home's value. So what a lot of these companies are doing is they're making it a 1%, 2%, 3%. We've had folks that have had $10,000 deductibles that had no idea until something bad happened. So take a minute, call your agent, go through your policy, ask about these things. Most insurance companies, you can go to their website and they've got these kind of FAQs. So look at those. Review your policy, because I'm telling you, you don't want to find out what's not in your policy when something bad happens. Yeah. So to that end, Jesse, you were talking about understanding the contractor. You don't necessarily need 3 estimates, folks. And let me just tell you our mentality. Insurance writes these based on up to date, like to the date on material pricing. They also price in 10% overhead and 10% profit for the contractor. Insurance is not going to pay a contractor to make a lick on you.
That's right.
Right? They're paying 20% over cost. They know what it costs for us to employ people. They know what it costs to have vehicles. They know what it costs to buy the lumber. All those things are factored in. So understand that unless you're doing something extra outside of your insurance scope, the majority of the insurance jobs we do is for not a penny over what the insurance, and that's the way we write our contract, over what the insurance is going to give you. Yeah. If you're getting $20,000 to restore your home, we write our contract for literally the way I typically have it on there is the adjuster's worksheet for this dollar amount for these line items. Yep. So this is not a situation where insurance companies, trust me, it's kind of having an advocate on both sides. If you've got an insurance company, they're making sure you're not overpaying for the work, right? Because they're telling you exactly what it costs and breaking it down. Having a contractor you trust and being under contract, folks, we can't talk to the insurance adjuster until we're under contract with you, because we don't have a dog in the race. There's privacy issues, and it's just the fact that they're not going to waste their time talking to somebody who may or may not have the job. But having your contractor under contract, once we send that contract into the adjuster, it's like we're, family. They can tell us anything. They know we're all in this with a vested interest. But the other big thing is we can then be an advocate for you. A lot of times, an adjuster can only see what they see. I know Jesse can talk about, he said your entire roof system earlier. Yeah, you may have a hole in the decking of your roof. But until we get the tree off, until we peel it back, we don't know if you've got rafters that are snapped.
Yeah. You got rafter issues. You might have insulation issues. You might even have ceiling issues at that point that are above the, under the roof, obviously, but above your ceilings, things in your attic, things that you just don't know. I mean, a roof is not just shingles or metal. A roof is I look at it as a roof system. So
and
there's
gutters and downspouts.
Gutters and downs may be majorly, majorly damaged as well. And I can go down rabbit trails with a lot of this on the insurance, and I don't want to. But what I will say is, look at your policy, like Dennis said, because you want, as a homeowner, a policy with recoverable depreciation.
And why is that important, Jesse?
So the recoverable depreciation is the opposite of that, obviously, is non-recoverable depreciation. So if you have a roof, let's say you have a shingle roof that's 10 years old, the adjuster is going to depreciate the value of your roof system a certain percentage, which means if you have a $10,000 claim, you may get $4,000 or $5,000 on the front end of your job, but they're going to hold back money to make sure that you get a contractor to do the work, to put on a new roof system, and then they'll release the remaining money of depreciation. If you don't have a recoverable depreciation policy, they will hold back that $5,000, and then you're trying to get a contractor that's going to put the roof on for the insurance claim, but that's only going to be $5,000. So you have to come up with the difference typically to the contractor to make up on what they are not going to send you at the back end of it.
And that's in addition to your deductible.
Correct. And I do not want to go down that rabbit trail, but what I will say is look at your policy, look at your deductibles, find out if you have a recoverable depreciation policy, which is what you need, and stay away from non-recoverable depreciation policies.
Absolutely. They're cheaper. A lot of companies kind of specialize in those, and those are some of the ones that, and there's big names involved in that. But just understand, the other thing you need to understand too is what's called replacement cost. Mm-hmm. When you're looking at your policy, you want to make sure that you have replacement cost as a note on your policy, because if not, most people buy their insurance when they buy their house. I built my house 15 years ago, for $160,000. My house now is worth $360,000. My insurance has had to go up significantly because I look and make sure I've got replacement costs, because I can't build my house right now. Even with being a contractor, I couldn't touch building my house right now for $170,000. So make sure that each year, as you're gaining these value, that you are also getting that, because replacement cost is typically 125% is what insurance kind of goes with sometimes of what's covered. So understand that you're going to need that, because that's factoring in a rise in material prices, that's factoring in inflation, it's factoring in the future. So folks, the bottom line, if you hear nothing else we say today, okay, call your agent and go through your policy. Mm-hmm. Call your agent and go through your policy. Most agents will welcome that, because most folks don't take the time to read it. I know sometimes we have a 4-page contract when we do a job for you, and I'll send a contract out and get it back signed in 12 seconds, and I'm like,
they didn't read that contract.
I'm almost positive they didn't read any of those terms and conditions. But listen, I love it when people have questions about my contract, because they've read it and they're informed. Keep yourself informed. It's going to protect your home, protect your family. Other things we've talked about today, and I know we're getting close to the top of the hour here, but just, find a contractor that specializes in insurance. Ask them about Xactimate. Xactimate is the universal insurance kind of restoration software. And when I tell you every screw has a dollar amount, it does. Mm-hmm. Jesse, what are other big tips you can give them today that they need to think about?
Check the roof system before a storm happens. Get an idea of what your roof looks like, what your downspouts, what your gutters look like, what your fascia looks like. Understand that there's just all kinds of things that you need to be prepared for before a storm. Read up on your policies. Understand what your policy reads. I've always heard the term, you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Come on.
It's the same situation on what we were just saying on recoverable depreciation and non-recoverable depreciation. It's the logistics, or the everything's in the fine print.
And the other thing I'd tell you is pay attention to your neighbors. If you're seeing 2 or 3 roofs going on in the same kind of little span of time in your neighborhood, your street, your cul-de-sac, and you don't see anything on your roof, maybe you don't have a gaping hole, folks, most folks that are worth their salt will do a free roof inspection. Mm-hmm. I know we do. Give us a call, 458-4135, Pro93 Home Solutions.com. Tell us you want, all my neighbors have gotten a roof. I don't know that I have any damage, but I'd like somebody to come see, especially if you're getting into that 10-year period with your roof. But folks, look at those things. Think about those things. Find a contractor you trust. If anything, folks, don't be anxious don't add more anxiety to this process than having a loss already has. Know your policy, and I can promise you, if you give us a chance, we know what we're doing when it comes to insurance. We've become kind of specialists in it. We don't shy away from it, and we're going to be a good advocate for you. So with that, we're going to sign off this week. Listen, if you've got any questions, please give us a call, 458-4135. If you're on Facebook, make sure you leave some comments below here. We'll get right back to you. Jesse, as always, thanks for being here today.
Yeah, glad to be here.
We could have talked for 3 hours about storm damage.
I could talk like this all day long.
This is what we deal with. This is what he does on the phone most days.
This is how I make a living.
With adjusters. So, folks, I hope you guys are having a great week. Go out there and love on your family, love your neighbor, and remember, we're all in this together. We'll see you next Saturday. You've been listening to Home Solutions right here on Mix 104.1 and 101.3 The Buzz.